Greatrex.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Speaker. We have had an interesting and at times enlightening debate on what will be a highly significant piece of legislation. I apologise in advance if, given the number of contributions today, I'm not able to reference every single one of them in my remarks. As my right honourable friend for Don Valley said at the beginning of the debate, on this side of the House we share the objectives that the government have set for this bill. But as we have heard from very many honourable and right honourable members, and from the members for Glasgow North West, Innismon and Southampton Test this afternoon, there remain areas of the bill that do require further detail, greater clarity, and in some cases gaps that need to be plugged. The Minister charged with taking this bill through committee can anticipate full scrutiny on these many issues were flagged up today across the House during the committee stage, and I'm sure he would expect nothing less. The Minister is indeed known as a fan of Burke and a prodigious quote machine, so he will know that Burke said bad laws are the worst sort of tyranny. And like the member for Innismon said, we don't consider this bill to be a bad bill, but we do consider it a bill that does require some improvement and some changes, and I hope that his constructive approach will endure through the committee stage, because by the nature of the contributions from across all sides of the House today, he will have heard a significant number of concerns of areas that do require further work. And it is in this spirit of constructive engagement, genuine scrutiny and an overriding determination to improve the bill that we will act as our reasoned amendment today makes clear. As his honourable friend, the chairman of the Select Committee, said early this week, this legislation is far too important for Britain's future to get wrong. And as the right honourable member for Wealden and my honourable friends for Wansbeck both observed, in the next decade, around 20% of the UK's generating capacity is likely to cease to operate. The member for Rochester referred to the power station in his constituency, and although some nuclear power stations have had their lives extended in recent weeks, we do know also that Kirkensey, Didcot and Tilbury are likely to close in the next few months. And as the member for Selby and Ainsty also referred to the Ofgem report and the impact in terms of capacity squeeze that there will be in the next few years. So it's for all those reasons that this is a very important piece of legislation, and the implications for not dealing with these issues are particularly serious, as a member for Southampton Test and my honourable friend from Edinburgh North and Leith also referred to in reference to our carbon targets. It has been a long road getting to this point. It's almost exactly 2 years since the government launched its consultation on electricity market reform. Since then, we have had a white paper, technical updates, a draft bill, pre-legislative scrutiny that my honourable friend from Glasgow North West and others on the Select Committee referred to during their contributions, and now a bill before this House. It hasn't been, I'm sure ministers will concede, a painless process for the government. And the interventions of the Chancellor have not always helped INDEC's desire to provide, if not certainty, then certainly predictability for the investments that need to be made in the future, as my honourable friend from Innismon also observed. What the Minister in the response to an adjournment debate last night described as the great bargain between the DEC and Treasury, with the incessant semi-public fighting within government, has left many nervous and reticent about investment in the UK. Those mixed signals are not good for reducing the capital cost of investment, as the former Minister, the honourable member for Wealden and others, and my honourable friend from Stockton South, both observed. The recent Ernst & Young Renewable Energy Attractiveness Index for Q3 2012 blamed political miscommunication and the lack of consistency over key energy reforms for impeding future investment in the UK. That is not a situation we can allow to continue. Without a sense of purpose, without that, then the upgrade to energy infrastructure we need to happen in this country will not happen as quickly, and it may well cost more. And we will be ever more at the mercy of global commodity prices than we would be with a much more balanced and diverse energy mix that many of us, although not all who have taken part in this debate, do see as very important. As many honourable members, including my honourable friend for Southampton Test, Innismon, and the honourable member for North Warwickshire, have made clear, there are gaps and omissions in the bill. Not yet measures on demand reduction, and my honourable friend from Llanelli and the honourable member for Tamworth, and also the right honourable member for Oldham West, also all referred to those. Not yet the fulfilment of the Prime Minister's promise of a few weeks ago in relation to prices, and not yet, as my honourable friend from Cardiff South and Penarth observed, and many others, a clear 2030 target for decarbonisation of the power sector. all of which, I would contend, are required to stimulate the investment the Chair of the Select Committee said earlier this week, setting a target for emissions from electricity generation, as recommended by the Climate Change Committee, has been put off until at least 2016, prolonging the political and regulatory uncertainty that is currently killing investment. This is at the heart of our reasoned and reasonable amendment before the House this evening, and it's an issue for which the Secretary of State, and indeed his Cabinet colleague, the Chief Secretary of the Treasury, argued just less than 3 months ago very vehemently at their party conference. And we all know how important consistency is to the Liberal Democrats in this House. Because, as we're all aware, we know also the perils of inconsistency and the need to ensure that we move towards a decarbonisation target. It's as one industry chief executive remarked to me just last week, targets help investors see the direction of travel, like the star shining over Bethlehem, which showed the direction of travel for the 3 wise men. And as I look at the ministerial bench this evening, I do indeed see 3 men. I think I think in the charitable time of year, well, perhaps wait until the 3rd reading to give a judgment on their wisdom. Also missing from this bill are measures to support the type of cooperative and community energy that my honourable friend from Edinburgh North and Leith, from Cardiff South and Penarth, and also from Croydon North, with his experience in relation to Brixton, spoke so eloquently of. Members will be aware his predecessor was one of the most thoughtful and serious contributors to energy policy debates during his time in this House, and he has, in this as in many other respects, a very worthy successor. The Secretary of State recently said that he wanted nothing less than a community energy revolution. I will say to him this evening that this bill is an opportunity we will help him to use to encourage that within the confines of this bill. There do remain serious questions, and the honourable member for Montgomeryshire, who we're all pleased to see here 10 years after his operation, that he referred to some of the difficulties around the detailed contract for difference, and many others referred to the capacity market and other things for which there is still some detail remaining to be given. Mr Deputy Speaker, I can anticipate that as a seasoned and erudite contributor to the House, some of what the Minister may well say in response this evening. He will doubtless quote Dickens, Churchill, Burke or Disraeli, or if we're even luckier, perhaps more than one of them, indicate his own brand of energetic commitments to the bill and say he is working with officials, industry and stakeholders to hammer out that detail to which I have referred. Yet I would say on a bill as significant as this, failure to fill some of those gaps at this stage and leaving it all to secondary legislation will prolong the period of uncertainty. Were the Minister able to offer publication of some of that draft secondary legislation in draft during the committee stage of the bill, I'm sure that members on all sides of the House would find that extremely helpful in being able to scrutinise it effectively. And at the very least, the Minister should be able to ensure that the impact assessment is updated before the committee stage and made available to members of the House. I've raised this with the Minister directly and with his officials, but it is important that we get that on the record tonight as well, to ensure that we have that commitment to properly assess that impact assessment that needs to be updated. Mr Deputy Speaker, it is in the best interest of the country that this bill leaves the House in the best possible shape. The Minister prompts me, just by his very presence, into recalling the words of Disraeli. The world is governed by very different personages from what is imagined by those who are not behind the scenes, Disraeli said. I anticipate keenly my behind-the-scenes encounters with the Minister, and I hope that he will therefore not disappoint me in taking into account the very many issues that have been raised, not just by this front bench, but by members across the House during the debate this evening. Mr Deputy Speaker, it is a pleasure to be taking part in the final debate of the year on government legislation prior to Christmas, before many of us will spend some time with our friends and families and others, and in my case, no doubt, a daily dose of Peppa Pig. But Christmas is also a time of year for reflection. And in the pace of our work and proceedings in this place, often we do not get that much time to have the luxury of reflection. I therefore finish in genuinely wishing the ministers opposite a happy Christmas, and I hope that during that period they also have the opportunity to reflect on the issues raised across the House this evening, some of the issues that people in this House are concerned about, and come back reinvigorated, refreshed and ready to engage in those issues so that we can ensure this bill does the job many of us want it to do.
Minister.